I knew you were full of it, Kaminari, Jiro said during lunch the next day. What? He whined with a smile. Mad Max was a really campy 80s film. You made that whole thing up. She held up her phone with the evidence of his deceit. Ha! That's why it's called a story! Yours and Midoriya's jaw dropped as you locked eyes. You both felt pretty embarrassed now, having believed Denki's tall tales to the point of hiding in a broom closet together, convinced your lives were at stake. Stories are meant to bring people together, Kaminari defended. Well, it certainly helped some people get together. Sero quipped, and the whole table eyed you and Midoriya. Someone, you weren't sure who, had seen you and Midoriya walking back to the campsite hand in hand, and it was now common knowledge amongst your classmates. Izuku turned red with embarrassment and you cleared your throat, trying to come up with a not-so-obvious topic change. You drew a blank, but thankfully Aizawa had intervened again. Attention, everyone. The room quieted down instantly. Next on the itinerary for today is... nothing. Huh? What? That's right. Since it's Halloween, you all have the rest of the day off to do as you please. All right! Hell yeah! Oh yeah! The crowd cheered, but Aizawa rolled his eyes. Don't cause too much of a disturbance if you go into town. It'll reflect badly on me. Yes, sir! Oh, we can go trick-or-treating! Uraraka exclaimed with excitement. Yeah! But, oh wait, I didn't bring any costumes. We can just go in our hero costumes. Nobody will know. Aren't you losers a little too old for that stuff? Bakugo said snidely. Like you have any better ideas. Uraraka snapped back and he stared daggers at her. Let's go! The town was small, quaint, with most of the action surrounding a local quickie mart and an arcade across the street. You all made sure to pick up bags, to put your trick-or-treat candy in. Darkness rolled around and you all gathered together, ready for the sugar-induced shenanigans to begin. You heard mutterings and whispers from your classmates as you strolled forward to the first door alongside Midoriya. Trick-or-treat! He said with a cheeky grin. His sweet freckles melted the old lady in front of you, and she dropped a handful of candy in his bag, then yours. Each one of your classmates followed suit, moving on from house to house until your arms were tired from carrying your spoils. You collectively headed towards the outskirts of town, starting from the center mart until you were closer to the woods. The next house was quite a long hike from the main road, and while talking to Midoriya, you hadn't noticed a very big change. Trick-or-treat! The two of you chimed in unison, receiving more sugary goodness. Thank you! Thanks! The screen door closed, but when you turned around, all of your friends had disappeared. Where is everyone? You shrugged in response, utterly clueless. Maybe they went on ahead? Perhaps there was a house that looked particularly exciting and they just forgot about the two of you. You check down that way and I'll see if there's another house up this trail here. You pointed up the dark road. Okay, he agreed, looking a little concerned. But if you don't find them, meet me back here in a half hour, okay? You nodded, thinking that was a good idea. I'll call you if I find them! You waved, getting out your flashlight. Same! He hollered from the distance. It wasn't long before you were out of breath. This trail almost went straight up into the mountains. You were worried you'd see a bear or something. During this walk, you had time to realize that the mischievous bunch had left you alone with Midoriya on purpose. It was a setup and you knew it. Which means they've got to be lurking around here somewhere, spying on us. You crept more quietly, smirking when you heard a rustle through the trees. You snuck towards it, lunging out with your flashlight. Aha! Ah! You heard the shriek of a raspy voice, dropping your light when piercing red eyes filled the darkness. The stranger stood up, and you were able to pick up your flashlight in time to get a better glimpse at him. The lanky boy had white hair and tattered skin, but otherwise appeared to be your age. He looked frightened, underfed and malnourished. Oh, I'm sorry! I didn't mean to scare you. I thought thought you were someone else. You offered him a hand, but he lurched away before you could, stumbling backwards and losing his footing.
Don't touch me!
He caught himself with a palm on a large oak tree, and before your eyes, the entire thing was reduced to ashes, dissolved. Holy! You felt a rush of fear and adrenaline. You had never seen a terrifying, destructive power like that before. You took a step back, gut churning with apprehension. Who are you?
What's it to you?
The raspy voice snapped. You just look like you're my age and you look really lost. I just want to help you.
You can't help me,
he answered, not wanting another innocent to get caught in the crossfire of his destructive purpose. I could try. You crouched down, trying to appear more welcoming to this clearly dangerous boy. What are you doing all the way out here? You eyeballed his bruises and scratches, worried that the poor thing may have been abused. Who are you hiding from? He gave you a look when you asked this.
You mean what am I hiding from?
He said gravely. You tilted your head. I don't understand. There was a silence, as if he was deciding whether or not to disclose this information to you. It could put you in danger.
I'm not like you,
he began. He extended his hand, but it was not an invitation for you to approach.
This power, I was given it by someone else.
Given?
No, I was cursed with it.
He spat bitterly, gritting his teeth with deep rage. You mean your parents? They gave you this power? Quirks are genetic, you thought. He must mean that he inherited this power from them.
Parents.
His demeanor unnerved you. His crimson eyes met yours once more.
I'm not a child, silly girl. I'm a weapon.
A weapon?
Yes. Everything I touch gets destroyed.
He clenched his fist.
I wasn't born. I was created.
You were speechless, but allowed the disturbed boy to continue.
Have you heard of Milan?
You shook your head.
It's a lab, a few miles from here.
He pointed a finger deep into the woods.
They made me to be their weapon, to use as their toy.
He was shaking now, and it made you fret how you couldn't help him.
But one day, they became careless.
He gave you a wicked smile.
That was when I escaped.
So, the lab people? You're hiding from them? He looked up, guilt in his eyes, as if he hadn't been entirely truthful with you.
They're the least of my worries right now.
You said they did experiments on you. You grimaced, queasy at the thought. What kind of experiments?
They tried to get me to go inside it. I didn't want to.
The boy began mumbling to himself, scratching his neck with both hands.
I didn't want to. I didn't. They made me. Couldn't stop it. So I broke through the gate, and it followed me out.
A gate? They had you break in somewhere?
The oopsie-doops,
he said darkly, as if the silly word bore evil undertones within it. Wait a minute. What the hell is an oopsie-doops?
Something they should never have tampered with.
He leaned in close to you.
It's a realm of death.
You were utterly perplexed by this encounter, but the white-haired boy made himself clearer.
When I escaped, whatever creature was in there followed me out.
You gulped.
There's 2 mutant destructive kids running around?
Is it like you? You asked.
I don't know if it's sentient or not,
he pondered, leaning against another tree.
But you have to listen to me. You need to get yourself and everyone you love out of this town. Fast.
What's your name? He looked surprised by the question.
The lab just gave me an experiment number. But I think they told me my birth mother called me Tomur-Shigaraki.
I'm Traveler, you replied. Tomura, whatever this thing is, you have to tell me how to help you.
Like I said, you can't help me.
I need to know how to stop this creature. Where do I find it?
From what I saw, it needs to be close to water to survive.
I see. I bet a team of pro heroes could stop it.
Nobody can stop it.
His tone became more manic. He began scratching his neck again, clearly a coping mechanism to the traumatic horrors he had been subjected to.
Everyone in this town will come to their untimely end, and it's my fault. No, it's their fault.
He scratched until the point where he drew blood. Stop! You yanked his hand away without thinking.
You fool!
He shrieked, and you realized the recklessness of your actions. You both stared at each other, unable to comprehend how you hadn't just been reduced to a pile of dust.
But how?
He looked at his hands. I didn't know you could turn your power off.
I didn't.
You pulled out a bar of candy and tossed it to him. Catch! He did, and the object disintegrated. Okay, let's try again. You pulled out another one. Just touch it with one finger this time. He obeyed, and his eyes widened when it wasn't reduced to nothing. Okay, now two. This went on until he put the fifth finger on the candy bar and it blew away in the wind. That was a perfectly good Kit Kat. I should have done it with a different one. You mumbled, but Shigaraki was awestruck by this newfound discovery.
There's a way to not
destroy everything? Yeah, I knew you could do it. You smiled, and you could see the thankfulness sparkle in the boy's eyes. You look like you need a hug.
What's a hug?
Lift your hands up. His expression looked suspicious, but he followed your order, lifting his hands above his head. Hold still. You wrapped your arms around his waist, pulling him in for comfort. He tensed, but quickly rested his chin on your shoulder.
Over there!
In the distance you heard a group of men, flashlights flickering out of the corner of your eye.
The bad men!
We need to hide you somewhere! To be continued.